Hello, and welcome to Check It Out Comrade, an indie game podcast where every 2 weeks we bring you two indie games and tell you what we like about them. I'm Nick Glauber.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this week we're doing our Halloween special. We got Five Nights at Freddy's and In the Kingdom, or reverse that order.
Those are the two games we're doing, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised what order we do them in. Nick,
yes.
Tell me about, where can people find more information on In the Kingdom?
Well, Gary, that's an interesting question, because as we tried to find information on it, it's seemingly started to kind of disappear from the internet. All I can find right now that appears to be official is the Steam Workshop page. It's by user Magma House, Haus.
Yeah, that's the guy who made it.
Yeah. Goes by Amon26, I think.
Yeah.
And apparently he's known for doing some other horror games and stuff too. But right now this game's kind of an enigma. So if you like what we have to say about it, you might have to search around to find it for a little bit. But because it doesn't appear to be available for purchase currently. So keep your eyes peeled and see if you can find this enigma of a horror game here.
Yeah, it was available. This is not part of a viral marketing thing for... we're not trying to create buzz. It was around. I learned about it from a YouTube video of somebody who reviewed it. And, we both played it. It exists. I would recommend setting up a Google alert for it because as we'll talk about it, at least I don't really talk to Nick about it, but I like it a lot. I'm really interested to see where it goes.
Yeah, the dude's Tumblr is now all spam. I don't know what happened.
I hope he's okay.
Maybe I was okay too.
I hope that it's not a Ring situation.
Yeah, maybe this was his descent into insanity and he's since just disappeared.
Or he's created a game that kills anyone who plays it.
Oh shit.
and if you die in the game, you die in real life. Or probably more accurately, if you fall through the floor in the game, you fall through the floor in real life. Because it's pretty glitchy.
Yeah.
But it's never, this game is not meant to be anything. This is not a final product. It's not even green light or early access. It's
right.
A demo, or he says on the download comes with a text document and says it's just a proof of concept kind of thing. As a pilot episode, they want to do more with this idea.
So there's still a Rock Paper Shotgun article about it, so you can find out a little bit more there. But yeah, it's totally not available from the site it used to be available for purchase from.
I bet you it will come back because I think the reaction has been pretty good.
Yeah.
So let's stop talking around it. What is cool about it In the Kingdom, Nick?
So In the Kingdom, it's a horror FPS, kind of 2.5 style, 2.5D style, like a classic Doom, Rise of the Triad. Where you're pretty much just wandering through this mysterious hellscape. It's pure atmosphere. The game is just 100% atmosphere, and I definitely like the sort of haunting feeling you get throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, the idea I think is that you're supposed to be really put off guard, and you don't really have any points of reference.
Yeah.
For what anything is, the little. As much story as there is. In the beginning, it says you're a lone soldier from a nameless war who, lost in the twisted belly of an ancient and once mighty kingdom, consumed by a most wicked and poisonous presence. And it really, it drips corruption.
Yeah.
Everything feels wrong about it. All of the enemy designs and just kind of some of the background textures and sprites, non-aggressive creatures that are around. Up on the walls or in the background. And it's a really well-designed thing while being super lo-fi.
Yeah. Yeah, lo-fi is definitely a really good name for it. Everything is super low textured. It definitely feels like it could have come out around the same time as Doom. Despite everything being horribly pixelated and, not a lot gone into kind of depth of graphics, there's still a really good hellscape planned out here.
Yeah, and it's the pixelated graphics are, it's in service of something.
Mm-hmm.
One of the scarier games I've played ever is a Half-Life 1 mod called Afraid of Monsters, and it is using the fact that creatures in if you're going to make a Half-Life 1 mod now, those people look like garbage, like
Yeah.
the humans. So like use that, and they do this kind of like they take advantage of the system. They just kind of janky animations and jittery, Jacob's Ladder kind of things. And it's really scary. And this reminds me of that a little bit too, where it's like everything looks just abstracted enough to be alien, whereas if you could see it like in full detail, it maybe wouldn't work.
No, yeah, totally. I definitely
Yeah.
agree with that. Especially just the like all you fight maybe a total of 4 different creatures, and all of
Mhm.
them are very low resolution, but obviously some like obscured. Kind of your brain has to fully imagine what's going on there, gore and bone and just horrifying stuff going on, but not enough detail there to come off as cheesy because you have to kind of all piece it together in your head.
And there's a lot of this kind of idea that they're trying to get. A lot of mechanics serve it in a way. Like it's such a good example of just a singular expression of an idea with everything. So like one of the things is they put you in this situation where you're surrounded by things that don't quite look right. And if you could sit there and just study one of these things, it might make a difference and you'd be able to kind of demystify it. But there's enemies respawn. Like when you kill them, they become this kind of oily puddle of blood where the enemy will come back. And which means you have to keep moving kind of continuously. So you're never able to just kind of stop and like drink in what you're doing. You're always kind of rushing past it and seeing details, maybe out of the corner of your eye or imagining them as it were, because you can't actually see them for the most part.
At least in the first level, I noticed trying to take my time a little more than I should have. I was caught off guard in a semi like safe-ish area by some unknown force that was scrolling through the level. I assume because I was taking too long, and it killed me. And I just got I didn't see any direct enemies around, but I saw this like path of some line floating through the sky that came towards me, and then I was taken by the kingdom, as it said.
Yeah, those lines in the sky are how one of the enemies attacks.
Mm-hmm.
I know it might be used for that too. I don't know if I stuck around enough if it has one of those like a ghost, like a Splunky ghost kind of thing
Right.
going on. But the way they attack is really cool. Like it just it looks like this weird stream. It looks like Donnie Darko or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like this thing that comes out of their chest, and it reminds me how much like I kind of hate hit scan weapons in shooters. Like, oh, I can dodge everything. That's great. And we have to talk about the interstitial things too. Like between the levels, there are these little moody, interactive cutscene kind of things that you walk through that are just really stylish. Like it just some text and some images that you can experience.
Yeah, it's like for the most part they're kind of long, mostly black hallways that you're kind of like aimlessly wandering through because kind of can't go off the beaten path, and then there's these holes in the walls you can walk into where there'll be a kind of framed image. Like if you step all the way into it, it would be like a screenshot of a level, somewhat. Like everything's kind of layered like it would be in the game, and there's some text overlaid to add some more mood to what's going on.
Yeah, you also find those books that have the text, and I don't know if those have a mechanical effect or if that's just something you can find and be weirded out by.
Yeah.
But it's really cool. Like I like this guy. I like his style. I really want a full game of this.
Yeah, I agree.
Like pretty bad. Like I think it would be really good, kind of use. And really, like we didn't quite do it on purpose, but we couldn't have picked these two games better because there's a real contrast.
Yes.
Like both of these games use simple mechanics to do a thing, and simple images to do a thing. But I think that this one is trying to do something I like a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree.
Even though the next game is not totally without merit, and we'll move on to talk about that. So set up like a Google alert for like Magma House Digital Industry, I guess.
Yeah, or this guy's username Amon26, although he appears to have dropped off the face either. So
again, I hope he's okay.
Yeah, good luck finding this game. I highly recommend you check it out, but it might be a little difficult currently.
Yeah. And yeah, hopefully it comes back in force.
Yeah. So let's move on to Five Nights at Freddy's. So this one does have a Wikipedia article, luckily, and it's available on PC, Android, and iOS, all as of August and September. And it's described as a point-and-click survival horror game, which it's definitely not the point-and-click you're thinking of. The main basis of the game is that you are the night security for a pizza restaurant, very much like Chuck E. Cheese, that has animatronic mascots. But in this game, at night they can't just be shut off because they will seize up and everything will stop working in them. So they leave them in a free roam mode at night. And in this free roam mode, they will mindlessly wander around the pizza facility, and you sit in your little guard room where you have very limited power in order to watch the cameras and turn on and off lights and open and close doors, because these guys in their free roam mode, if they come across anyone, will believe that they are a animatronic that has been stripped of its fur and outer casing and will attempt to place you within one, which kills a person if they are put into this situation.
There's not enough room for like human eyes and stuff
Right.
in the animatronic eyes.
So the whole point of the game is to carefully preserve power while checking your cameras and closing your doors only at appropriate times to stop these free roam animatronic creepy little bastards from getting you and killing you.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's not very point and click, but it very much is survival horror as far as survival horror is about resource management.
Yeah.
And this is a real simple distillation of that. Like, that just everything takes power. You have to survive for a certain amount of time. You have a certain amount of power. And what it is, like what the game is that's interesting, like I don't really want to play it anymore, and I don't think that you do either.
Right.
It's really not for me, but like at its purest form, it is a like a tension stimulator.
Yes.
Like it is, the scares that come from it come from jump scares, which like, enough has been, I feel like that's kind of widely considered not to be the finest form of horror or anything like that.
Correct.
But all of the mechanical things you can do is to avoid jump scares, which is tension. So like I feel like the appeal of the game or the gameplay is in the lead up to this thing that hopefully if you're doing it right never happens.
Right.
And that's the feeling that this game does, which I think it does incredibly well.
It does do it incredibly well. Like I will say that the jump scares that this game provides, because of the tension it's so good at building up to, did make me scream. Like I don't scream very often at games, and I screamed when I got captured for the first time.
Yeah, why is this on iOS? Like or Android? like you either want to just like make a fool out of yourself on the bus or just play it in dark in bed. When you can just move the phone out of the way a little bit and just see like two eyes and peeking out of the bathroom, like no problem.
Yeah, no, that's not a good idea. But the success of this game is definitely purely because of watching YouTube Let's Players get totally jump scared to death. Yeah. Which is perfectly fine, but that's definitely the source. That's why everyone who has heard of this game has heard of it, because Markiplier and PewDiePie and all the main sort of Let's Play big names have played this game and collectively shit their pants live on camera.
Right, and it's like to its credit, again, it's actually scary, but like there is the cynical side of me thinks it was intentional. It reminds me in that way of Goat Simulator a little bit, which like is a goofy game to watch more than anything. Like I liked that game, okay, but after we did it for the show, it's like I really need to go. There's nothing I need to go back to in this game, but I could still be like showing it to somebody I could see.
Right.
Like it is a game for watching, and this is like that a little bit too, except it's that specific kind of like weird YouTube culture of watching white dudes scream. Like,
yeah.
It's just a thing that people like doing, and it happened with Slender. And it happened with, which is again another super simple game that is like I think pretty good at building up tension, but is not very deep.
Right.
As far as actual mechanics go, like what this game does really well is like it's a ridiculous idea, but they sell it because it actually is kind of scary.
Right.
And it's taking something like those things have always been a little bit scary.
Exactly.
And I've never seen any media that plays with that. I've never even seen like an 80s slasher movie that is about Fuzzy Bear or what have you. Like
I can't believe that hasn't happened actually.
Doesn't it weird? Like I was trying to find something, but I don't know anything that deals with the fact that this was like a thing that collectively is scary.
Yeah, well, I think maybe it might be because this is sort of a newish thing, and we're just now of the age where people who have been exposed to this through their childhood and had that little bit of creep factor that all of us who grew up in this age had from these things, and they're just now at the age where they're going to be producing stuff like this.
Yeah,
So I actually wouldn't be surprised if a movie's not too far off from coming.
that'd be rad. Because these, Chuck E. Cheese things are actually pretty scary.
They're
Like
fucking like
animatronics are pretty great.
yeah.
Pretty
While we're
awful.
comparing to Slender Man is a way less creepy thing than these fucking creepy ass
Than Chuck E.
animatronics.
Cheese. It just so what's kind of neat about the game is that it's the actual gameplay is just checking to see whether these things move, and they can't move if you're watching them, which there's no explanation for that. It just happens to be true. And they move from room to room, and you have a map. So it's like, another way, it kind of reminded me a little bit of Papers, Please, where you're like managing in your mind a lot of things at once.
Yeah.
Like, I know this guy's here, but I have to check back to this thing. And they also have different routes. Like, the different animals have different movement patterns that you can kind of memorize and learn. But since it's all still images, more or less, like, the game is just GIFs.
Yeah.
Like, nothing is animated. Like, it is super minimal. It could almost be like a hypercard stack.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Like, it is super, super minimal.
Yeah, this could have been a game developed 20 years ago.
Yeah. Or played in browsers now.
Yeah.
Like, super easy.
For sure.
Or like in YouTube's.
Ooh,
like there's like links on the screen, and then to kind of check different things, and then depending on, because you never will interpret those, just looking at the YouTube link. It's a cool idea. Cool. I always thought that the YouTube, there are a couple of YouTube games like that, but I always thought that was a weird underrepresented genre, like YouTube Choose Your Own Adventures or YouTube, that kind of thing.
I've seen a couple of them.
I haven't seen any of them that people like or that are good.
That's true.
But yeah, it's like it's not something like it is super successful. I was super tense playing it. But not in a way that I needed to get through it, because nobody, my career doesn't depend on it, like Markiplier. If I was getting paid to do it, I would probably power through. But as is, it's this is kind of unpleasant. I can appreciate what this is, but watching it makes me feel bad.
Yeah, I don't have. The thing is, the gameplay is not capturing enough to want me to continue playing it, and I don't have an audience to fulfill with my continued playment of it. So I got a few days into it, and I'm like, well, I've had enough of that game.
Yeah. I only got a few days into it as well. I watched some kind of a lengthier playthrough of it, not an entire playthrough, but a lot of one. So there are kind of spoilers in this that I want to mention after the spoiler section. It's super minor, but it does have to do with I think it does kind of impact some of how the game works.
Yeah, I'd like to know more about the later days, because I didn't bother to look into it very much. So
yeah.
Right.
But that's Five Nights at Freddy's and In the Kingdom.
Yeah, have a happy Halloween, and we'll get into some admin stuff real quick.
Mm-hmm. So we're still running our Binding of Isaac Rebirth contest.
Yes, we are.
Write us a rating or review, 5 stars. We had a really hilarious one on iTunes. I don't know if you look at those, Nick.
I haven't looked at it yet. So
you should. There's a very funny one. If it's trying to be funny, it's amazing. If it's not trying to be funny, it is double amazing. I think it is trying to be funny, though. It's very good. But 5-star review, or not 5-star review, any kind of review. Give us a 4-star review. Give us 2-star. Well, we'd prefer one or the other, but review us on iTunes, and you have a chance to win a copy of Rebirth.
Yeah.
Because we are super excited about Rebirth, and we're going to do a whole episode on it.
Yeah, and that's going to be announced, and we will make sure everything's known about it on the 1st of November is when the next episode is going to be coming out.
Yep.
So get it in before then. We'll probably be cutting it off around the 28th or 29th, so we can decide and get the episode recorded. And if you have your review in, you have a chance to win.
Yeah, and the next episode is a weird one too. We're doing just one game. So yeah, we're finally doing Wasteland.
Yes.
Because that is out. Strangely enough, you might expect that I have already beat it, but Nick has actually already beat it.
I've already beat it. I marathoned that stuff, man. I put 60 hours in 2 weeks. So.
Yeah, and I have not started it because I've been preparing for Portland Retro Gaming Expo. But I am planning to start it, and I just got a thing that says my physical copies in the mail.
Yeah, nice. I have the Ultra Extreme $100 one, so those haven't been shipped yet, but they're coming soon after. So.
I think mine's a collector's edition too. I was at the tier under you where I didn't get a belt buckle, but I got a big physical box copy.
Oh, the belt. There's a $60 or $70 box copy, and then a $100 collector's edition box copy. Mm-hmm. And they said they're gonna do those second. And actually, the belt buckle was something on a guy on Something Awful did separate.
Gotcha.
So.
Yeah, so I have the $100 one, but I did get a email. about it.
cool.
So I think that those are on the way. But anyway, we're going to do a whole episode on Wasteland 2. I'm going to do my best to beat it by then because I can't have any spoilers. And we're super excited about that too.
Yes.
What else can they do to help out the show?
So let's see. They can come chat with us, come participate in the community on Facebook at facebook.com/checkitoutcomrade, and also on Twitter at Comrade Podcast.
Yeah, and if you want to suggest a game, you can go to Duckfeed.tv /checkitoutcomrade, and there's a little widget there.
Yep. And that's about it for. Well, there's also our Patreon, which is always ongoing. We've mentioned it a couple times now, but if you want to check out the Duckfeed Patreon, give us a couple bucks a month. It helps us get this stuff produced, helps us get new stuff, helps get Cole out for Portland Retro Game Expo, all sorts of neat stuff like that. So
yeah, get Cole out of the house. Yeah, and we have a brief spoiler section.
Yeah.
Right now. So I don't know. There is more story. Like I didn't listen to all of the security eye calling you.
Right.
Seth, the weird thing is though, is that there is like supernatural element. There's a poster, and if you stare at it long enough, it releases a golden Freddy that can teleport into your room.
What the fuck?
Yeah, which is dumb. Like that really feels
in the
like
office?
Yeah, he can just get in there. There's some kind of mechanic to it. I think that like he can only come in when you're like, when you're doing something, like you're looking at a specific room, possibly that room that has the just audio,
right?
Which is a cool touch. Like I like that room a lot. But yeah, doesn't that seem like it kind of violates?
Yeah, that's kind of scummy compared to the rest of it.
Yeah, like it feels a little bit like it's it's dumb to say like this game, it's ruining the realism of the game, but like the game is about these things stalking you, not about like a magical ghost.
Yeah,
being able to insta kill you. Like you're supposed to have the whole point of the game that makes it not just constant jump scares is the being able to kind of control
right
where these guys show up.
Yeah, having a paranormal aspect ruins the flavor a little bit.
Yeah. So that's all I know about it. There probably is more story to it that I just didn't get because again I didn't listen to all those security logs. Like we mentioned the main episode, but every night starts with the guy who used to have the job kind of calling you and talking you through what you're going through.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's this weird supernatural element to it that I think is pretty dumb.
I've heard there's like ways to reach an extra ending or something from a coworker, but I haven't bothered looking into it too deep because I got what I wanted out of the game basically.
There's a seventh night or a sixth night rather.
Yeah.
Which is like the hidden night. And I think that might be the one that is like a custom night. Like I know that you can actually set the AIs and stuff. It's really like weirdly customizable and modular for a game that doesn't seem like it would be.
Right.
But yeah, that's all I got for that is that supernatural element, which I know doesn't come out. Qualifies as a spoiler because it doesn't show up for most of the game.
All right. Well, have a happy Halloween. Oh my Jesus.
Yeah.
Have a happy Halloween, everyone.
Yeah. And great Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Wait, we'll have an episode out before Thanksgiving.
I just want them to have a good Thanksgiving.
Okay. Fair enough.
So maybe they have two
happy
families.
Holidays.
Maybe their parents are divorced and they have a Thanksgiving early on in the month.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday. I want to be the first
New
one
Year.
to wish you a happy New Year.
All right.
All right.
I'm calling it there.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.